Hi, this is Chris Smith for T3.com with a video review of the Sony Ericsson Vivaz. Now, you've seen this phone probably splashed across your TV screens over the last couple of weeks with a really heavy advertising campaign from Sony Ericsson, who are throwing a lot of weight behind this phone. It's available to buy now, but how did it fare in our T3 review? Now, the main feature that Sony Ericsson has been shouting about for this phone is its capacity to record 720p HD video, and it's only really the second high-profile mobile phone release that we know of that can shoot high definition, the first being the Samsung 8910 that was released last year. Now, this is probably the smoothest and best HD video we've seen on a phone so far. It films 720p at 24 frames per second, and the results, as you can see from the footage on screen now, were really quite impressive. That feat is even more impressive when you consider just how small this little device is. It's only got a 3.2-inch touchscreen compared to the 3.7 on the Samsung model, and it's probably the smallest high-definition camera that's currently available on the market as well. In terms of stills, we've got 8.1 megapixels to play with, which isn't quite as much as the 12.1 on the Sony Ericsson Satio, but there's still a host of fantastic camera options which allow you to take the best pictures really easy. There's a great panorama mode, white balance correction, and smile detection as well. So all that famous cybershot technology that we've seen on Sony Ericsson phones down the years packed into this little Vivaz here. It's also got a 3.5mm jack. It's only the second Sony Ericsson phone to feature that after the W995 Walkman, a handy addition for playing all your tunes. Speaking of music, Sony Ericsson phones down the years have developed a great reputation for great sounding phones, and this one is no different, almost matching the Walkman tech that we've seen on phones like the W995 down the years. Now, as we mentioned, the phone is quite dinky, as you can see. It's only got a 3.2-inch touchscreen, and it feels extremely light in the hand, but the downside of that is it's also really plasticky as well. The design is nice, but it doesn't really give you that premium feel like some of the other Sony Ericsson phones, and certainly nothing like the iPhone or the new HTC phones that are currently on the market. Unfortunately, we can't claim to be too impressed by the 3.2-inch resistive glass touchscreen on the Sony Ericsson Vivaz. When you're swiping through the menus here, sometimes you can end up in a completely different place to where you want to be just by the wrong slip of a finger, and it isn't really that responsive at all. It doesn't really help that the phone is running on Symbian 5th edition, just like the Sony Ericsson Satio. While it is familiar, it really can't match up to the operating systems out there at the moment, the iPhones and Androids of the world that really are cleaning up the market at the moment. There's a long way for Sony Ericsson to go, but maybe the Android running X10 Xperia might correct a few of the flaws that we've seen on phones like the Vivaz. Again, I'm afraid to say it's a similar story with the browser on the Vivaz Pro. It's okay, but just okay. The pages can be quite slow to load, and the phone has trouble switching between the 3G and the Wi-Fi, bringing up an annoying pop-up whenever you want to switch between the two. It really isn't ideal. Now, that isn't to say there aren't a bunch of things that we really do like about the Sony Ericsson Vivaz. The HD video recording is fantastic, and the stills camera and all the options that come along with that are really good also. It's also quite handy for listening to music and watching some movies on the go as well. But the slow and clunky Symbian user interface and the basic browser on the phone really do let it down on some vital levels. We'd love to see this feature set like the HD video and the great camera on an Android phone, so maybe that could be next for Sony Ericsson. In the meantime, if you've got to choose between this and the Samsung 8910 HD, we'd probably plump for the Samsung. It's only £70 dearer, and it's got a fantastic 3.7-inch Oled screen to go with that, and some great options as well. But it's up to you. This is the Sony Ericsson Vivaz.